Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum. Straight talk about you and your money. Now from the BizTalk studios, here is Gary Kaltbaum.
And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you're listening. No, really, very happy that you are listening. It is Tuesday. It is August 6th. It is 2024. And we're here to talk about the psychotic markets and everything that has to do with the psychotic markets and what's going on. We will cover it all because, boy, oh boy, we had a lot of inquiries today, ladies and gentlemen. Not only do we have inquiries on that, a vice presidential selection today, and I'll have some commentary on that also because, ladies and gentlemen, there's a binary choice come November. And I have coined it the Ebola virus versus the bubonic plague. But on the economy, I think there's two very, very wide chasms between the proposals. We'll cover them every day with no bias, agenda, or ulterior motive. We always say up front we wish there were two other people running, but hey, there's nothing we can do about that. And in case you don't know, this is serious talk on everything that does affect you. And of course, the election's going to affect us because the Morlocks in D.C. on a daily basis are doing more and more and more to take over our lives. And we'll do the markets, the economy, and all kinds of other crap. And if you'd like to email me, just be nice. That's all you got to do is be nice. And the simple reason why, we're nice right back. And respectful. You can disagree with us 1,000%. We're going to respect you back. Unless you like Hamas. Unless you're a criminal. Unless you're a racist. We don't put up with any of that crap. Okay. So, yesterday we started the show. I think we said something to the effect of the bad news was the NASDAQ was down 500 and something, but the good news is it was down 1,000. The bad news is the Dow was down 1,000, but it was down 1,200 was the good news, which is not that great. The NASDAQ bounced better. We're going to do the opposite today. The good news was the Dow finished up 294 points. We'd call it a further bounce. The bad news is the Dow was up 750 points today and only finished up 294. The good news is the NASDAQ finished up 166. The bad news is at one time today, the NASDAQ was up 430. So yesterday, after a vicious gap to the downside, institutions or whoever defended price. We would suggest on the NASDAQ and NASDAQ 100 at a very important level, what we call the 200-day moving average. It's a long-term moving average that very much gets defended or else. Today we would suggest, and let me be clear and concise about it, the selling today occurred in the final hour. That's institutions. So unlike yesterday where they defended, today, after bouncing up, they sold. Tomorrow, I have absolutely no freaking clue. Zero. Just like we had no clue today. I didn't know we'd be up 750 and finish up 294. I didn't know the NASDAQ would be up 450 and finish up 166. And by the way, the NASDAQ opened up, I think, 100. And then it was down 50 like in a few minutes and then popped right back up. If memory serves me right today. Yeah, that's right. NASDAQ opened up real quickly 16,326, and before you know it was 16,140. Here's what I do know. Near term, now, we're in a downtrend. And the reason we bounced in the last couple of days, how do I say this best? The reason we bounced is because the Dow, and I'm not making this crap up, dropped 2,597 points in 3 days. Oh, excuse me, I take it back. 2 days and a gap to the downside yesterday. 2,597 points from the high of Thursday to the open yesterday. So of course you're going to bounce. You don't know where, but 2,597 points typically will do something like that. The NASDAQ from that same time frame, 17,791 to 15,708, 2,083 points in 2 days and an open. So of course you're going to bounce. Partly yesterday, partly today, though the finish today was less than stellar. Which again leads me to say, I have absolutely no clue what happens tomorrow. I just been telling myself and telling my peeps, I just be careful. Excuse the little less than stellar language. This is a market that's looking to piss off everybody. And if you're not careful, you are wading in quicksand. I must tell you, as somebody who's constantly looking backwards, constantly critiquing myself, I wish I bought the open yesterday, but they didn't give you time. What do I mean, and why do, as I look backwards, but I can't really blame myself too much. And let me explain. Yesterday on the open, we had this big gap to the downside. 1,000 and something on the Dow, 1,000 on the NASDAQ, which is insane. And we have something called the VIX. And I know you hear about it, but let me explain what it is in layman's terms. It's called the volatility index. And when it skyrockets, and I mean Eiffel Towers, that means everybody's crapping in their pants. Excuse the language again, but sometimes you have to be a little picturesque. At the same time, the VIX was massively higher than the Eiffel Tower. Add the Seattle whatchamadoogie needle above the Eiffel Tower, and that's what the VIX did. And man, I really thought that was an opportune time for somebody like me that was out just to do some probing. And I was thinking about it, but it didn't let me think. And I say that, do you know what happened? Within 5 minutes yesterday, on the open, within 5 minutes, on the open, they rammed the market. With the Dow opening, let's call it about 15.7, it was 16.1 within 20 minutes. And at that point, you're saying, I'm not buying anything. The NASDAQ's already up 400 points in a big downtrend. And of course, and that's 400 points after dropping 1,000. Of course, we settled down the rest of the day, but gapped up again today. So it was really tough. So I kind of cursed myself out in my little book. And then I said, but I can't be too mad at myself. That's what I said. Because sometimes they just don't let you in because of how quick. So, no biggie. No sweat. So today we had an opposite day. Institutions defended into the close yesterday off the massive gap. Oh, I take that back. Institutions defended at the open yesterday. And institutions, they jumped on things on the open today and couldn't hold it today. We'll see what tomorrow brings. But let me be big picture. We had a big drop. And I'm always asking the question, why? And why so bad? And then I'm also, why is everybody so sanguine? Notice the big word from your host, handsome and buffed. Sanguine. Didn't see any bears out yesterday or today. And there's some bears out there, but I didn't see any. Up next, I'll tell you what I heard. And then we have a vice presidential candidate on the left. We'll talk about that. I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.
Hi, I'm Gary Kaltbaum, host of the nationally syndicated radio show Investor's Edge. We're not just handsome radio people. We manage investors' money for a living, specializing in fee-based discretionary money management. No big commissions, just a fee on the assets that's managed. We also provide a full range of personalized services, including retirement planning, fixed income, and educational needs, all to assist you in achieving your financial goals. Understanding not all individuals have the same needs, we'll carefully evaluate your personal goals to determine a proper investment strategy. If your current approach to investing is not getting you to where you would like to be, call us to make an appointment for a complimentary portfolio review. The number to call is 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. Investment advisory services offered through Kaltbaum Capital Management.
It's time to switch on the integrator units and get the brain cells working.
You're listening to
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Investor's Edge
The last bastion of quality programming.
with Gary Kaltbaum.
It doesn't get better than this.
Yo, welcome once again to Investor's Edge. So let me skip a little bit. Just so you know what I do daily now, what ain't going down? What's holding up like a rock? What's showing great relative strength? Though we absolutely know, if there's more to go on the downside, they ain't going to hold them up either. I have a list of about 10 names that really show great relative strength. I have a smattering of a few other names, maybe 20 or 30 that are not great, but good. And then the rest sucks. Way down in their drops. Not so way down in their drops, but still decently down. So I'm really able right now to isolate the heck out of this market, knowing that even the strength will get smoked if we have even more downside, or if we go into a real bear market, and that would mean the 200-day gets taken out and everything, all hell breaks loose. I'm loath to give out those names yet on radio. My peeps know the names. I have this little membership thing. Let me state for the record, there's about 10. We'll see how it goes. Here's the problem with giving them out. One of the stocks is an $1,800 stock and was up $75 today, but finished only up $34 when the market came in. One of them is a almost $800 stock. It was up 34 today, but only finished up 11. So I just don't think they're ready. And again, if they come after the market, again, let's hope not, they'll get them too. So the sore thumbs really show themselves right now, and that's when we're at our best. You know our mottos. It's easiest to isolate strength when the market's at weakest or weak. It's easiest to isolate weakness when the market's really strong. And right now, of course, it's the former, not the latter. And of course, there's a ton more earnings to come out, but we've really gone through a lot of the big ones, but there's still more. After the close today's Amgen in the Dow. Airbnb, that's an important name. I see Reddit, Wynn Resorts, a few others. Anyway, what else today that I noticed? The SOX, the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index, hit 4683, up 164 points. It finished up 48. So after a nice little reversal in the NASDAQ yesterday and a nice pop today, already they couldn't hold the move? Well, I'm not ready to answer that question yet because for all I know, they gap it back up tomorrow. For all I know. All I can tell you, though, boy, things are way down. And dang, as I said earlier, there's no bears out there. Here's what I heard today. And yesterday. It's just a correction. Yeah, sure. Tell that to people that own Micron. You gotta be a buyer when things are on sale. I heard that today. When things are on sale. The question is, but at what price is the sale in the market? If something goes 100 down to 80, you can say it's on sale, but if it goes to 60, that's why I hate when I hear that. You see, when you go to the store and the shirt that goes for $50 is 40, it's on sale. Cool. Maybe it goes a little bit lower, but it's not going to affect you if it's tomorrow it's 35. Yeah, but what about, well, you get my point. Market's a little bit different. Yet, that's what the clowns tell us. So for all we know, they gap it back up tomorrow. I'm not against that. But lost some steam today. There'll be more reports coming out. We'll see how that goes. There's this Japan thing that's going on also. And if you want to know what the Japan thing's going on, instead of me explaining, just go look up the Japan carry trade and read up what's been going on and why Japan dropped 25% in a couple of days. And I think Japan, by the way, was up 10% last night. And as you know, the worry of Japan is the same worry I have here, massive debt. The government buying up their stocks. I think they own 50 or 60% of their freaking market. And the government keeping rates at 0% artificially. You know what that led to here. And I'm also just seeing just a lot of touting. A hell of a lot of touting, ladies and gentlemen. Touting up the wazoo. They're out in droves again on the AI this, AI that, AI this, AI that. Even after the close today, they're touting left and right. They're out big time on NVIDIA after the close. It's up $4 in the aftermarket. That's how they do it. And we'll see. Tomorrow's another day. But just another not so great finish. But we're not in any camp now that they're going to ram this thing back down so quickly and so easily. If anything changes, we will let you know. Seeing a few things move in the aftermarket. Let's see what I got for you. Well, SMCI is up $100 in the aftermarket from 616 to 716. That's what's moving NVIDIA. The problem with SMCI is it just dropped from 963 and 1,229 back in March. I'll look at those numbers after the close or after done with radio. So stay tuned. What I say at the beginning, I'll use different verbiage. They're not going to make it easy. They're not going to make it easy. We'll be spending our days looking for the sore thumbs and hoping better days ahead. Up next, what else we got for you? We got plenty. Oh yeah, a vice president. We're trying to be. It's the one and only Investor's Edge.
Listening to
America is talking.
Investor's Edge.
He's got to be pleased with that. The crowd is just on its feet here. He's a Cinderella boy.
With Gary Kaltbaum.
Comes highly recommended. You're going to feel better if you talk to him.
And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. So just letting you know, as I have told you here, I don't have 100 analysts work for me. Like the Fed has. Or some of these big, gargantuan funds. But I'm pretty damn logical. And I got a pretty decent ear to the ground in that through my years, I've just been able to, luckily, meet up and know people in different industries. And I also have a radio show where every now and then I'll ask, tell me about your industry, let me know what's going on, tell me what you do for a living, and tell me what you're seeing. And we get a lot of information, but we check on everything. One of the areas that we have been told has been magnificent is the airlines and travel. I have to tell you, just from my looking and feeling and seeing, I'm not going to say it's falling off the ledge. I'm just saying I think there's some trouble there. And not because they just sank Marriott big time, though they said what they're able to charge has been coming down. But I'm seeing it elsewhere. And I just get a decent feel. And I don't have any inside information. I don't have any line into any CEO. And by the way, a CEO cannot tell me anything, and I would not accept anything anyhow. But I'm just letting you know, and we'll see how it goes. Not so sure about travel. By the way, Supermicro came out with earnings that were $1.87 worse than expected, but they're raising consensus going forward. We're supposed to believe them going forward when they miss by 3 miles. What a concept. Anyway, it's up. It was up 110. It's only up 70 right now, as they're going to have to go through those numbers. And here goes Airbnb. Are you ready? Airbnb stock closed at 130. It's 112 in the aftermarket. And you know what Airbnb does. And the stock is down from 170 in March. I'll have to go through those numbers. Remember how hotels, Airbnb, their business is the more people can go to their hotels, the more they're able to have firm pricing and charge. The less people, they have to try and attract people. And what they do is they start feeling out pricing. But when they lower prices, less the profits. So I got to find it hopefully somewhere else. Just letting you know. Airbnb stock, by the way, since the July 4th, 155, 113 in the aftermarket right now. And again, I have yet to see what they said. We'll do that after the show. So just giving you an idea how hard we work at this. And that's why we're so insistent when we tell you something here. We do our legwork. And when we tell you about the food at Publix and tell you that the potato chip bags, the big bags now are the old smaller bags. Do you know when I go on my flight with Delta now, we get Sun Chips? They're like infant size, not big size. The party size chips are like about 30% what they used to be, and pricing the same. Now that's small potatoes, no pun intended, but that's just like everything. And therein lies the worry on the consumer front. And that's why I'm so pissed off at Biden, because just remember, they said inflation was transitory. Then when they looked like idiots, they called it with the Putin price hike. And then the price came down. They said, look what we're doing. And then price went up and they said, oh, well, it's the Putin price. You get my point. They suck. But they're for the people. You know that, right? They're for you. Well, they're wanting to raise taxes on all of you. So we'll keep you abreast of the situation, but today's finish was the opposite of yesterday. I have no idea what tomorrow does. I said in aftermarket again, SMCI was up 110. It's only up 55 right now. So futures initially went up a little bit. They're pulling back right now. I'm talking NASDAQ type. They had NVIDIA moving up a few bucks, and now it's come. We'll see how it goes overnight. That's all. And now you know what I got to do every night now is watch Japan. Down 25%, up 10 in 4 days. And just so you know how that works, started $100, down 25. That takes you to 75. Now 75 up 10, that's a 7.5. You're still at 82.5. You're still down 17.5% from that position. And as we stated to you, the problem with Japan is the government just runs the joint in ways not good. And remember, most of these people that run the government, all they do is take out another credit card with a higher credit limit to pay for the last one and make them hopefully look themselves good, and you keep voting them in. That's all Biden has done. Trump did it. Obama did it. Bush did it. The only difference is Biden said, screw this. I'm just going to supersize the hell out of it. And he did. And now the calls going forward, nightmarish. Absolutely nightmarish. Which takes me into the election. Well, the Kamala Harris can't select a Jew, can't piss off the anti-Semites that are in Washington, D.C., like Warren and AOC and the Squad, and Bernie, who's Jewish, that loathes Jews and Israel. Yeah, there's some of them out there. So the one they should have picked, the Jew from Pennsylvania, because they must win Pennsylvania, they don't pick him. They went into Minnesota, a leftist stronghold that they're going to win. And picked another leftist. Now, does it matter? No. His last name's Walz. Couldn't give a crap. I read a few things. Don't like what he did during the riots. He's anti some things I don't like, but he doesn't matter. Unless he becomes president. What matters is Kamala Harris. And what's her first big decision? Screw the Jews. Not picking one. That's her first big decision. Politically, gotta be on the side of the anti-Semites in the Democratic Party. The chalk, the easy pick, the smart pick, because you need Pennsylvania to win, and he's very popular in Pennsylvania. I'm not picking a Jew. And that's that. That was today. I don't care about him. I don't care about J.D. Vance. We only care if the president, becomes incapacitated or whatever and they become president. But they don't win elections. J.D. Vance is not going to win or lose the election. This guy Walz is not going to win or lose the election. Vice presidents do not move the needles. At all. Except if you're in the most important state in order to win the presidency. So up next, their proposals will rehash. And you get to decide. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.
You're listening to
What are we waiting for?
Well, what are you waiting for?
1, 2, ready, go.
Action!
Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum.
By the way, on one little note, Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, who should have been the pick, was trying to un-Jewish himself in the last couple of days when he wasn't sure if he was going to be picked. Oh, well, I was joining the IDF, but I was only 20 years old, and I was really not... Jackass. Anyway. Our motto stands. We can't stand any of them. They're all pretty much nauseating at this point in time. We only care about 3 words, and we the people is those 3 words. I really, as I've said to you before, and I really mean this, by the way, this is not... I really wish I took a different path, and I really wish I was really in contention to win the presidency, because you look. You look. Here's what we should want out of a president. Number 1, defend the country. Number 2, defend the citizenry. Number 3, defend the country. Number 4, defend the citizenry. That's the most important. That's the number 1 job. The number 1 job. Number 2, create conditions for all to excel, and then get the hell out of the way. How hard is that? Keep your taxes low. Do not have onerous regulations. And if you want to know what onerous regulations mean, go look at California. Mandates, rules, fees, and fines, put them to the side. Taxes, not crazy. And when you hear the words from them about the wealthy do not pay their fair share, let me give you what they're really saying. Those of you that want to become wealthy, we don't want you to become wealthy. We want you to have to kiss our arse in order to win your vote. So we're going to keep you down by raising taxes along the whole stream up. So how do you become wealthy if they raise taxes every time you move up in life? Just remember that. High taxes do not affect the already wealthy. It prevents the middle class from becoming wealthy. So when you hear fair share from these people, remember who they are. And then shut up. Imagine that. And last but not least, government. It's okay to have government. We're good. But how is it possible that federal spending just the year before COVID was $4.4 trillion? With COVID was $6.5 trillion. All that spending for COVID. And our spending now, just a couple of years after, is more than the COVID years. How is that possible? And all that extra spending is debt. How is it possible? Because leftist control freak maniacs like a Biden did it. But unfortunately, the Republican side signed it. And the moderate Joe Manchin was the last guy that put it over the top. You know, the moderate Joe Manchin. Do you know how you stop deficits? Just stop government from going up every year. Do you know we have a $25 trillion economy now? Do you know a few years ago it was 20? We keep going up, but every time we go up $1, they go up $1.50. And it never ends. As president, I stop spending in its tracks. I start pulling back and watch the surpluses roll in federally. Don't believe them. Oh, it's because of just Social Security and Medicare. They're lying. They're making it up. Joe Biden, $380 billion given to John Podesta, Democratic hack, for climate. They spent $7 billion on charging stations. There's 7 of them. It would be so easy. And I'm really contemplating getting a hold of Trump if he wins. Donald, I don't want to be official, anything, but let me sit down and show you how easy it is to balance the budget. Just stop raising the size of government every year and let the economy flourish and watch what happens. They will love you to death. That's all. That's the story. And Kamala Harris is the exact opposite. Wants to raise long-term capital gains from 20 to 44, disincentivizing holding assets more than a year. They want unrealized capital gains. Unrealized! You own things. You didn't sell. You're paying tax if you're up at the end of the year. If you don't have the money, then you're forced to sell. They're insane. They want to roll back the Trump tax cuts. It sunsets anyhow, but they can stop it. And then they lie. Oh, it's only $400,000 high. It's a lie. You can't piecemeal getting rid of a bill. It's everybody. So you, Aunt Mary, and Uncle Bob that make $50,000 a year, you're getting a tax hike. They have floated a wealth tax. You die, you're paying taxes. Federally, you're paying taxes. If you're in one of those states, you're paying taxes. One of those cities, you're paying taxes. You're in California, you got that big butt gas tax. But now let's have a wealth tax. Oh, you're worth how many millions? Oh, you're going to pay us 1% extra every year. Tough. This is the stuff we're going to be addressing until the election. And we're not going to opinionize. We're going to give you the facts. Anyway, we have no clue about how we open tomorrow. It's a crazy market. Take care. Be smart. Don't be crazy. We'll keep you in touch. You have a great evening. Drive carefully. When you get home, do like we do. It's quite simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. Make sure you have hug your grandson if you have a new one. Peace out, all. Serenity now. Bye-bye.
This has been Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum on BizTalk. To listen to past episodes or to get in contact with Gary, go to GaryK.com. That's GaryK.com.